Let's start with the latest on the rising tensions between Iran and the United States. Washington has called for an emergency meeting of the UN atomic watchdog. On agenda of course, is Iran. U.S. called for the meeting of the International Atomic Energy Agency after Tehran breached its 2015 nuclear deal by exceeding the permitted stock of enriched uranium. Now, the IAEA has said that the Board of Governors, who represent the 35 nations, will be meeting on Wednesday. Experts have said that there is no clarity on what exactly this meeting would achieve, and here is why. Remember, the parties to the nuclear deal already have a separate forum. It's called the Joint Commission. 2015 nuclear deal lays out all possible action that the Joint Commission can take in a case of a breach, but U.S. can play no role here. This is because when U.S. pulled out of the nuclear deal last year, it also pulled out of the Joint Commission. Sure, IAEA has some powers, but it is limited. The IAEA is in charge of verifying the restriction of Iran's nuclear activities as imposed by the deal, but the IAEA has repeatedly said that it is up to the signatories of the nuclear deal to in fact decide whether Iran has breached any terms. Now let's take a look at some of the other signatories of the deal. Now these are Russia, China, France, Britain and Germany. Now Iran has said that it will breach the terms of the deal one by one in retaliation to U.S. sanctions. Tehran has said that as of the 7th of July, it will enrich uranium beyond the 3.67% purity cap imposed by the deal. Tehran did give an option to the other signatories to help it bypass the U.S. sanctions in return of Iran's royalty and, in fact, loyalty of the deal. Gibraltar yesterday has intercepted a super oil tanker that was carrying Iranian oil to Syria at the behest of Britain. Now, this has flared up tensions once again between Iran and the West. And on the latest development, a senior commander in Iran's elite revolutionary guards has warned that it is Tehran's duty to seize a British oil tanker if Iranian oil tanker detained in Gibraltar was not released. A British official said that the crew on the giant tanker were being interviewed as witnesses and not criminals. Earlier, Iran had summoned the British ambassador in Tehran to complain about what it claims is an illegal move by the British Royal Marines. Iran's foreign ministry said that the seizure of the Panama flagged ship is quote-unquote a form of piracy. They said that the act does not have any legal and international basis and that the tanker must be released immediately. Iran added, and I quote here, the move indicates that the UK follows the hostile policies of the US, which is unacceptable, in fact, for the Iranian nation and the government as well. The US, meanwhile, welcomed the move by the British forces. White House National Security Advisor John Bolton tweeted, "Excellent news, UK has detained the super tanker Grace 1 laden with Iranian oil bound for Syria in violation of EU sanctions. America and our allies will continue to prevent regimes in Tehran and Damascus from profiting of this illicit trade," unquote. Now, this is how it all started. The dramatic seizure of the 330-meter-long tanker happened in Gibraltar. Now, this is a tiny British territory in the southern tip of Spain. Yesterday, British Royal Marines, along with police and customs agents in Gibraltar, stopped the Iranian supertanker. UK said that carrying Iranian crude oil to Syria is a breach of the European Union sanctions. The British Navy boarded the Grace 1 vessel at Gibraltar. According to the BBC, at least 30 Marines from 42 commandos were in fact flown from the UK to Gibraltar for the operation. The first Marines to board the ship descended by a rope from a chopper. The remaining Marines approached the supertanker in speedboats. Now, this drama is, in a way, is unprecedented. This is what the Chief Minister of Gibraltar had said yesterday.
In the early hours of this morning, Gibraltar port and law enforcement agencies, assisted by a detachment of Royal Marines, boarded a supertanker carrying crude oil to Syria. We have detained the vessel and its cargo. This action arose from information giving the Gibraltar government reasonable grounds to believe that the vessel, the Grace 1, was acting in breach of European Union sanctions against Syria. In fact, we have reason to believe that the Grace 1 was carrying its shipment of crude oil to the Banyas refinery in Syria. That refinery is the property of an entity that is subject to European Union sanctions against Syria.
Sure, Europe has banned oil shipments to Syria. It has 8 years since, but no tanker has ever been seized at sea for carrying oil to Syria. Coming to the question of Iranian sanctions now. It should be noted that Europe, unlike the US, does not have a broad sanctions against Iran. So what really led to this dramatic and unprecedented detention? That's an interesting question. What is also interesting is Spain's reaction to the entire episode. Spain's acting foreign minister, Josep Borrell, said that the action followed a demand from not just the UK, but also the US.
Naturalmente estábamos al corriente de esta operación. Las patrulleras de la Guardia Civil han estado securizando la zona, pero estamos estudiando las circunstancias en las que se ha producido, puesto que ha sido una petición que han dirigido los Estados Unidos al Reino Unido, y estamos viendo de qué manera afecta a nuestra soberanía en la medida que se ha producido en unas aguas cuya soberanía entendemos que es de España.
Reports in British media.